Welcome to the Literary License Podcast retrospective as we explore anthologies. Anthologies have been around since the 1800s with classics by Poe, Hawthorne, Stevenson, and Lovecraft to name a few. Motion pictures have been exploring anthologies since the 1930s until today, with even television using the format. Come with us as we celebrate the anthology films through the ages.
Hello, welcome to Literary Lessons Podcast, and we're dealing with our new episode of Anthologies. And today we're covering Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. And before we get started, let's find out who's with us. We got Vicky Ray with us. Hello, Vicky.
Hi, guys.
We got Davide Cavallo. Hello, Davide.
Hi, everyone.
And I'm your host, Keith Shago. And before we get started, let's find out what we've been up to. Starting with you, Davide. What are you up to?
Not too much for the moment, really. I mean, rain seasons have started in the UK. Yesterday we had a massive amount of rain.
It does not like rain and cloudy weather.
Yeah, I mean,
our backyard flooded yesterday because we had
There was
Isn't
flooding.
that bad?
I could see.
Yeah.
It's just
It's been raining
really
every single
depressing.
day this week. Like just raining. And today got like a little bit of sun, and then it just downpoured when we were outside.
That just shits all over you after teasing you. Yeah, I know that is.
So I came back all wet and soaked, so I had to change my clothes as I walked in the door.
Yeah, rain season has really started, and yeah, it's really depressing. I'm going to be honest. Thinking that in Italy they still have 30 degrees, and I'm like, oh, lucky them. But it is what it is.
It
You gotta live on what you have. 30 degrees Celsius, it's just amazing considering it's the end of September. But it is what it is. But yeah, I haven't really done much. I mean, I started randomly watching, I don't know if you know, a TV show called Steven Universe. It's a cartoon. It's very, very LGBT friendly, but it's not on your face. It's kind of like in the background. It's beautifully done. Plus, you have these anthropomorphized characters who are basically crystal gems, and they fight monsters and stuff. And when it's about magical, powerful girls and monsters and magic.
What's it called?
Steven Universe.
That sounds fun.
It's amazing. It's kind of like the LGBT version of Adventure Time, sort of. I don't know how to explain it, but I've watched it so many times in my life. I love it. But yeah, that's about it.
And what about yourself, Vix? What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. It's been kind of, weather's changing here. Doing a couple things here and there, assignment-wise, trying to make the side hustle for Christmas is coming. Utilize my old secretarial skills when I can. No, I'm not doing that. Just hanging out with the kids. We're getting ready to come over your way to go to Switzerland the 8th. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a layover, be able to say hello and trash London or something. You never know. What did I watch? I've been watching. I watched Night of the Zombies the other night ago. You ever watch that with Daryl Hannah's in it? And
No.
what's his face? Oh my God! What is his name? He was in the Halloween. He played the boy that grew up and he died. I'm like, why am I having that? What is his name?
He grew up and died.
Okay. Remember in Halloween, the young boy, the two kids, Lindsay and
Oh yeah.
and he grows up in the new Halloweens that just torture us all.
Oh, he's Anthony Michael Hall from.
Yes, yeah, he was in it too. There was quite a few stars in there. I was kind of surprised, but it was it was kind of a fun zombie movie. I mean, it was your typical zombie fun, but Daryl Hannah was in it. It was just kind of one of those movies. I put it on. I couldn't stop watching it. I got vested really quick. But what else? I was watching Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories. I hadn't watched that in like 20, 25, 30 years. And I forgot how cool some of those that was. Like where the guy he likes to draw, and he's a gunner under like the belly of the plane during World War II, and he gets locked in there and they can't get him out, but they have to land. But if they land, they're gonna kill this guy. And it's just really weird. He just concocts. He just comes up with these big yellow animated wheels that show up as landing gear on this plane. I can't explain it, but anybody that knows Amazing Stories probably knows which story I'm talking about. And I started watching John Wayne. I don't know why. I've been watching all the John Wayne and the Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns lately. Just can't get enough of those, the stinking badges and all that shit. But I was watching The Last Unicorn too. I don't know how that came on, but I hadn't watched that in like 40, I think 1982, I think is the last time I probably saw that.
Yeah, the Group America
Mia
did the
Farrow.
soundtrack, didn't they?
Huh?
The Group America did the soundtrack.
Yes, yeah. And I like the soundtrack, and I forgot how much I enjoyed the cartoon. And there's just like that where she turns into a female to avoid the Red Bull, and he accidentally turns her into a human being, and she's like, I can feel his body dying all around me. And it's just like I can so relate every time she says that. But anyway, just not a whole lot. We've been kind of like chilling out and waiting for Godzilla Zero. Like I told y'all, it's going to be fun. Old Godzilla, but with a really cool technical spin. We'll see. I'm sure everybody will hate it, but I'll like it. But I don't give a shit. Other than that, getting ready for fall and everything else that comes with it. What about y'all?
Watched Evil Dead Rise, which is on Netflix here. So
Right.
Watched that. It was interesting.
I thought some of it was scary, but I was kind of expecting a little more Evil Dead fun, I guess is maybe the word.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the Evil Dead before this, which is it was gory, but I didn't I didn't like the characters that much. I couldn't care.
I didn't get vested in the characters. I wanted all of them to die, and I'm pretty sure you did too.
Yeah, I kind of I thought it'd be more daring if they had the pregnant girl get killed, but obviously
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like, I'm glad they were able to kill the kids off. That would made it more interesting. But like the neighbors next door, I don't know. And then, spoiler alert, but when they all become one body, I don't understand what that was about. And, I don't know. It's like three bitches into one sort of thing. Oh, sorry. One of them was transgender. So I guess it's two bitches and a he, she. I'm not quite sure.
2.5 bitches? 2.5 bitches.
2.5 bitches. So, but I mean, it was interesting. It's just that, when they had all the dead people in the hallway and none of them are coming back because before they all came back, didn't they? They always kept killing them unless you dismembered them. They all kept coming back.
Right.
And then she
was really a vile, evil thing, though. You got to admit on her performance.
Oh, the mother
was
good.
Really scary. She fucking scared she scared me. I thought she was the only saving grace to the whole movie. Because she did well. I loved her when she was on Vikings. They sneak her in these movies every time. She was just brilliant in Vikings. I loved her in that.
Well, she's got a really interesting look about her, sort of thing. So
she does. She's unusual, isn't she?
I mean, it wasn't horrible. It just, there's some gruesome moments, like when they used the cheese grater to grate someone's leg.
Yeah, that was great. I forgot about that. So. Yeah, you gotta go where the violence is. You gotta go for the good ones, the good kills. There's always a good kill, no matter how bad the movie is. Somebody gets it right at least once.
And then we watch. I started rewatching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because I love that.
I loved that show. I haven't seen that in like a decade.
There's new season now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So
like 6, 7, 8 years old now.
15.
Oh wow, man! I didn't.
We're rewatching it because Ferris has never seen it, so we're rewatching it from the beginning. So we're on season 4, good. And it's still in the square screen because they haven't gone the widescreen yet. Tells you how old it is.
Oh no shit!
And they got the flip phone. They're using their flip phones with no cameras.
Oh yeah, it's like early. What is it? 20s?
Yeah.
2000s. I want to say
2000s. Yeah. So we're really watching that. Yeah. That's quite enjoyable. And then is there anything else we're watching? No, not really. I'm watching Sister Wives. That's back.
Oh no, just nothing like rotting that brilliant brain of yours every chance you get.
Anywhere where I see like a man married to 4 women and 3 of them are left him because he's such an asshole, it's something to watch. It's like, God, he's such an asshole.
I don't know why. I mean, it's good for the man, I guess. I wouldn't do it.
The women have left him. He's only with one now. There's one woman. It's kind of funny because the show started like 15, 16 years ago. So it opens with him marrying the new one, the young one, and and I guess he always favored her. You could tell he always favored her, sort of thing. But now it's like it's all come to the fore situation. I mean, one of them's named Robin, and everyone calls her Sobbin' Robin because all she does is cry. Sobbin' Robin.
You know what they got on that's coming on? I'm actually going to watch it just for grins. I want to see how people like our age and older behave on the show. But they're going to have the Golden Bachelor. It's the Bachelor, but it's people over 60 and 65. I just want to see. They're showing him the new Bachelor. They're not showing what the women are going to look like. I want to see what kind of shit show this is going to turn into. Because I just never, when you're a more seasoned woman, maybe you're not the little harpy that the little 24-year-old twits do on,
Well, they've done
island.
They got a show over here called Love Island, which had all
my daughter watches that really.
But they've now done a 50-something.
Now that'd be interesting.
They're on the island. They're on a farm, but they're really pretty.
I haven't seen
really well
that.
kept up.
That'd be cool. I gotta look for that when we got to to look for that when we get down.
Yeah, I'll find out what the actual name is. It's not called Love Island, but it's basically the same thing.
Well, they got this one bachelor's thing, the farmer, meet the farm. I mean, you get all these high-powered New York hotsy-totsies. They're not going to be happy married to a bloody farmer. It's just like this show is dead in the water. It's like, what?
I can tell you what, I can't see any of them getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every
milking cows. No.
Milking cows.
That shit's hard. Trust me, I know.
No days off. You don't get a day off either.
No, you have to milk those cows.
365 days out of the year.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
But other than that, not a lot's going on. I've been off this week, so I've been taking it easy. Been playing Starfield on Xbox. Finished the Tomb Raiders, which I played them before, but I've played the last.
Tomb Raider things are amazing. Amazing.
But they remastered the first 3 Tomb Raiders. That looks fantastic. So that's coming out
better graphics.
February. So I'm looking, same gameplay. They just updated the graphics, so it looks really good. So I'm looking.
No new storyline to it though. Pretty much.
No, they got a new Tomb Raider coming out eventually with a new storyline. So, but
I've got a question. Does that mean that if you put the code to get Lara Croft naked, you don't see her sparked? You see her properly? No, I'm joking. Because you remember back in the old games, they used to be able to be code.
But the thing is, you never really saw her naked anyway. Because if you put in the code, it'd be like her, and then she'd look at you and about to take off her towel, didn't she? And then she'd take a gun and fire at the screen, and the screen would go black. Because I've
never done it in the old games, but they used to tell me, and then it was a famous thing. The 2 main things that I remember from that game is the code to get Lara Croft naked and the guy at the house being locked in the freezer room.
Winston the butler used to lock him in the freezer. I used to do that with Sims. I used to play The Sims, and I used to kill my Sims. Like put them in the pool and then take the ladders out, watch them
go up the ladder,
or put them in the room, remove the doors, and watch them starve to death.
Now, the best thing was you don't give them skills for cooking, then you put them into cooking and you fill the room with wood, and then you see everything burning.
Watch them burn to death.
You guys, I've sucked at video games. I so suck. Nobody wants me on their team. No one ever breaks me.
But The Sims is a game. The Sims is actually a game that you do on your own. It's quite easy. All you have to do is just create a character or a family, whatever, and then just make them living.
Yeah, they have to go to work. They have to pay their bills. They have to have their house. It's like
try to get money to pay the bills and buy a house and improve.
Too much like real life for me. So
pretty much. Yeah. For me, it was all the excitement was about building a house, and getting the money, and then just building an amazing house. Then I would get the characters to start leaving, and I'm like, I'm bored. Let's build a new house. Because I love that part, but that's
Barrett was playing it, and he made a model of me, and made a model of him, and I did all the work, and he did fuck all. So yeah.
No. Long ago, I saw it, and then he was painting, training, running, studying. That's what he was doing.
But not working. So anyway. Well, on that note, that brings us to Fantasia, which is a 1940 American animated musical anthology film produced and released by Walt Disney Productions, with story direction by Joe Grant and Dick Huemer, and production supervision by Walt Disney and Ben Sharpsteen. The third Disney animated feature film, it consists of 8 animated segments set to pieces of classical music conducted by Leopold Stokowski, 7 of which are performed by the Philadelphia Orchestra. Music critic and composer Deems Taylor acts as the film's Master of Ceremonies, who introduces each segment in live action. Disney settled on film's conception in 1938 as sport near completion on The Sorcerer's Apprentice, originally an elaborate silly symphony cartoon designed as a comeback role for Mickey Mouse, who had declined in popularity. As production costs surpassed what the short could earn, Disney decided to include in a full-length film of multiple segments set to classical pieces with Stokowski and Taylor as collaborators. The soundtrack was recorded using multiple audio channels and reproduced with Fantasia sound. It was a pioneering sound system developed by Disney and RCA that made Fantasia the first commercial film shown in stereo and a precursor to surround sound. So Disney basically invented stereophonic sound for films, records, and music as we hear it today. Fantasia was first released as a theatrical roadshow that was held in 13 cities across the U.S. between 1940 and 1941. They first began at the Broadway Theater in New York City on November 13th, 1940. While acclaimed by critics, it failed to make a profit owing to World War II's cutting off distribution to the European market. The film's high production costs and the expense of building Fantasound equipment and leasing theaters for the roadside presentations. Since 1942, the film has been reissued multiple times by RKO Radio Pictures and Buena Vista Distribution, with its original footage and audio being deleted, modified, or restored in each version. When adjusted for inflation, Fantasia is the 23rd highest grossing film of all time in the U.S. The Fantasia franchise has grown to include video games, Disneyland attractions, and live concert series. A sequel, Fantasia 2000, co-produced by Walt's nephew Roy E. Disney, was released in 1999. Fantasia has grown in reputation over the years and is now widely acclaimed as one of the greatest animated films of all time. In 1998, the American Film Institution rated it as the 58th greatest American film in their 100 years of 100 movies and the 5th greatest animated film in their top 10 list. In 1990, Fantasia was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. What we're going to do is cut to the trailer of Fantasia from 1940 and be right back.
Well, that's what started. I was doing this Sorcerer's Apprentice with Mickey Mouse, and I happened to have dinner one night with Stokowski. Stokowski said, "Oh, I would love to conduct that for you, you know." Well, that led to not only doing this one little short subject, but it got us involved where I did all of Fantasia, and before I knew it, I ended up spending $400 and some odd thousand getting music with Stokowski. Well, we were just going a little bit beyond what they were getting in the art school, where they work with the static figure. We were dealing in motion, movement, the flow of movement, the flow of things, you know, action, reaction, all of that. That's about did it, you know.
What you're going to see are the designs and pictures and stories, music inspired in the minds and imaginations of a group of artists. First, you're more or less conscious of the orchestra. Then the music begins to suggest other things to your imagination.
Congratulations to you, Mickey.
Gee, thanks. Well, so long. I'll be seeing you.
Bye.
Hello, welcome back to Literature Lessons Podcast, and we're discussing Fantasia from 1940. So, Davide, what are your thoughts of Fantasia?
Okay, so first of all, Fantasia I watched when I was much, much, much younger. Obviously, it was a little bit different from the like classical movie that I used to watch because obviously there wasn't a proper story. They were like short stories, sort of, although not all of them were stories. And I used to like it, but obviously I couldn't understand why there wasn't proper stories to understand it because, you expect to watch a movie with the main characters and a movie of like 90 minutes or whatever. But then this was a little bit different. So I go back with the memories. Then the amazing part, I think, from a cultural side of this is the fact that it's kind of like Disney introducing and pushing classical music into audiences. So this is kind of like educational at the same time, introducing classical music and exposing audiences to classical music, which is something that it's beautiful. Obviously, these days, unless you go to certain academies and stuff, you don't really get exposed to that. I was quite like it because I did 3 years in middle school when I was young, and I studied music, history of music. I played classical guitar, played the flute. There was much, much younger, so I got exposed to music. But I can understand that many, many people maybe don't. So from a pop art sort of side of culture, it's good to do that. Like it's kind of like educating people into stuff like this. It's I think it's a beautiful thing. Plus, when it's education, I'm always there. I like leisure, but I like more when there's also sort of like educational side of leisure and entertainment, if that makes sense. So the movies is in general is beautiful. I got my favorite parts. My 3 favorite parts is so the part of obviously the famous part of the Sorcerer's Apprentice when you have like Mickey Mouse trying to do magic, although he's incapable. That's historical.
But he just let all that water, just all those buckets, just got all kinds of crazy.
It's beautiful, yes, and it's amazing because it kind of like. If you watch anything Disney related, obviously the picture of Disney, the symbol is Mickey Mouse head. And then you always look, even those TV shows of Disney, you always see Mickey Mouse being the main character as the leader and then showing people, organizing things. For the first time, you see Mickey Mouse being under somebody, so it's interesting. It's like
I like the wizard. He was kind of omnipotent looking, wasn't he?
Yes. So it makes me feel like, and then this is obviously my theories, which might not necessarily be true, but I'm thinking, what if there's like a secret hidden message there? It's kind of like if Mickey Mouse is the representation of Disney, what if the represents of what Disney is trying to do, trying to push itself in the world and becoming powerful and strong. Back in the days, obviously Disney was much smaller. So it was like Mickey Mouse trying to learn how to do magic. So it was Disney trying to learn how to make money in the world. I don't know. I see these symbols and things in this representation. Could be not, doesn't matter, but this is the way I see it. So that's definitely my favorite. And then my second favorite is I think the Pastoral Symphony, the whole mythological representation. I loved it. When it's about mythology, I'm in love.
I love mythology too, but most of the centaur women have nipples in mythology. There's no nipples.
Yes, obviously, remember the audience.
We don't know why they didn't put nipples on there too. I think that was after the Hayes Act, and I don't think that Disney was into that back then. So I thought that was kind of funny.
I think also like a sort of sexual consciousness wasn't as evolved as it is today. Maybe back in the days.
They might have nipples. It's just that they were very clever with the hair.
Yes, they were very clever. But if you watch a couple of the scenes, they are showing the full frontal, the breast, but there is no there though.
Yeah, it's
there's no there.
Well,
it's just
America,
to kind of keep
America
it
hasn't really changed as far as nipples. I mean, look at the whole Janet Jackson farce.
It would have ruined the whole thing. If you would have thought that nipples would just ruin the whole transaction. I'm telling you.
But I mean, to be honest, they were representing a story, mythological story. So
I thought that was beautifully done. I love the centaurs. I love the Pegasus. I love the winged horses. Or is that the second one? No, wait, this is the first one.
Yes, it's all part of the Pastoral Symphony. So
yeah, oh my God. I love the horses. I like the little black horsey with the wings. It just couldn't get his shit straight. But then he finally got it going and he started flying.
Yeah.
It was so fun. I love the end of that one. I love the Ave Maria. I always have. I don't know if it's my Catholic upbringing, but I've
the
always
Night of
loved
Bald
that
Mountain
song.
into Ave Maria is brilliant. It's the devils and everything like that. And then
Yeah.
sunshine
And then the
comes.
morning comes, and then it's all wonderful again. The evil is subsided.
Oh,
with the
yes.
daylight.
In fact, that's my third favorite part. I think it's called Night on the Bald Mountain. And then, funny enough, that creature is, I think it's a deity from Slavic mythology that's represented there. I think it was called the Chernobog. Funny enough, the Chernobog there is also the main antagonist in the game called Kingdom Hearts. I love Kingdom Hearts as a game. It's a beautifully done game. Probably one of I can. From my experience, I mean, I don't know all the games, but for Disney video games, I think Kingdom Hearts is definitely my favorite Disney games. It's amazing. The lore of Disney is put there, and it's majestic. It's beautiful. I love it. And then, in fact, they use lots of symbolism and lots of representation for Fantasia. They put it in that game. I love it. It's a work of art. But yeah,
it definitely is a work of art. I mean, I think that it wasn't their biggest money maker back then. But I think what happened from what I was reading, a lot of people weren't really, they were used to having the whole story, like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty.
It was different.
But, I mean,
it
if
was
you look at it
experimental.
though, you can wrap this up into a whole story because you start out kind of with the band, and then it just keeps evolving, the whole thing. So all the stories could technically connect. If you looked at it in that capacity, that it was one big story, like Genesis. You have darkness and everything goes to, the story moves on, kind of. Or at least that's what I got from it.
Well, yeah, but you also have the dinosaurs, the Rites of Spring, which is
right.
Done. If you consider like 1940s and
they actually got that pretty good for 1940 because I was a student of paleontology and I never noticed that years ago, but they actually kind of hit on that. Well, right to the iguanodons looking like regular iguanodons because they never used to do that in the older stuff. They made them all old and lumpy and they weren't fast. And you remember the dinosaurs with the hands when we were kids?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just stuff like that. They were kind of ahead of their time when they made this. I was rather impressed with it. I was.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad as well. I mean, the dinosaurs become extinct and how that all happened. There were like no food, and it's like, and they're getting stuck in the tar, and
and then they showed how the bones just become the fossils in the Badlands, and it's really all about life and death and rebirth. Yeah. That's really all about a process, the whole thing. And I thought they captured that spirit of that circle of life quite adequately in this film.
The only thing I really didn't like is the fact that obviously the carnivorous dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, I think it was, or something similar, was represented as an evil guy. And even in the description, the presenter was like, these meat eaters were like gangsters, evil. And I was like, well, that's just nature. You can't really... But I mean, that was back in the days. You can't really... You gotta eat,
Yeah, I don't think they were trying to spare us completely from the dangers of just living because that's every day.
You have to also admit, I mean, if you look at 1940s and you take your children to this is probably the first graphic images they're ever going to see.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, that's true. That's very true. So, they did, afterwards, they did a lot of, they did Dinosaur, which is another Disney movie.
I love that movie. Don't get me started on that. I love
That's a beautiful movie. But there was another series of movie, but had nothing to do with Disney, with dinosaur. I think it was something called The Valley or something. I can't remember.
Valley of the... Oh, God. I have kids. Why can't Valley... Not the Valley of the Dinosaurs.
I can't remember.
Okay. Are the dinosaurs called Littlefoot, and
yes, that one.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah. And then they
I've got like all of those movies somewhere in the back room. All of them movies. Land Before Time.
Land Before Time. Yes. And I think that back in the day, this is probably one of the biggest, most...
I always cry when Littlefoot's mother gets killed by the other dinosaur.
But I imagine the reason probably they would say about gangsters. I think it probably has to do with the violent side of it for the kiddies in the audience.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Only because you got to remember that everything was in black and white at this time.
Yeah.
Seeing color film.
Also, it wasn't in colors.
So you didn't get a lot of color stuff, and Fantasia was presented in color, and it's Disney. So because of this is a third feature after Snow White. I mean, this is the third feature after Snow White.
Well,
so.
Also, the little kids have a hard time sitting for this because we might appreciate the classical music with the companion piece of the cartoon and imagery with it, but a lot of little kids couldn't sit through this from what I read.
Well, they had I mean, it's also presented and it's still there, but there's the intermission segment, isn't there? There's intermission where you go out and do whatever and come back.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
But I mean, even the Nutcracker Suite is presented wonderfully because it's like you see the change of seasons from spring to winter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's very well done, and
in a very mythological way. But I loved it. I
love mythology
the
too.
Sprites and stuff, and I even like the night and day segments with the ostriches and the hippos and the elephants and the.
Let's not forget the very racist Chinese mushrooms that I was warned about before I started watching this movie here. I had a big warning about before I watched this movie. There was going to be some whatever. I've texted Keith. I go, I don't see where the racial tension is. I go, where's the racist stuff?
The only thing I can think of would be the Chinese mushrooms. I
couldn't figure out what was racist about it at all.
I don't know. I mean, I never met anyone who was offended by it, so I don't know. So
I just shocked because we get warnings. I don't know about y'all, but we get warnings over here in Disney.
Yeah, we do the same on the Disney.
And it's just like I was like, God, what did I miss all those years ago? I mean, I would have never put two and two together on the mushrooms. I had to ask Keith, what are they talking about?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I can think of because, or the Russian part, I guess, with the Russian flowers, maybe. I don't know. So that's the only thing that I know that.
I thought it was just a beautiful cartoon with music.
It's culturally geared to anything. They're the only two segments that I can think that are culturally geared to any culture, really, because the rest of it's like sprites and. Greek mythology and dinosaurs, and unless maybe someone's offended by maybe the dinosaur, maybe people are think of themselves as dinosaurs and are offended. Who knows? I don't know. I'm making that up.
I just didn't understand. I mean, I try to look for those things. It's like, what am I supposed to be aware of that I should be ashamed of? And I just couldn't figure it out. And the closest thing to any different ethnic representation was probably the mushrooms, but I thought it was adorable. I don't think in terms of that when I'm watching something like, oh, they're Chinese. No, I don't think that way. So I hate it when they do that.
I think another thing I liked about this is that normally when you see animation, it's kind of like ink and colors. Mm-hmm. And I think this one, they use pastels and different
very
formats, watercolors,
very. Can you use watercolor doing that kind of stuff?
I think they did a whole mixture of a lot of different art segments. I know some of the pastels, like the beginning of it's pastel-y. Some of even the Sorcerer's Apprentice is not full animation. If you notice, it's got some pastel shading and everything behind it and all the other stuff. So, even the Ave Maria when it's going through the glass,
that was beautiful.
But
that reminded me. It was an inspiring end. It really was. It was so pretty. I mean, I love the Ave Maria. I mean, if I hear it, I could be at a freaking Black Sabbath concert and I'll turn and listen. If I hear an Ave Maria, come on. It's just part of my Roman Catholic Italian upbringing.
No, I'm pretty much the same. Although I'm not a Christian person at all, I refuse to be Christian. But inside, I grew up with like Christian music. When I want to do meditation, sometimes I used to Gregorian chants.
Oh, I love Gregorian chants.
And they just they calm me down in a way that you cannot imagine. It's so majestic.
Oh, you gotta try the singing bowls. Get singing bowls. Those are even better. Look up.
The one with the
stuff is awesome. Okay, we're done.
But what the final Ave Maria, I think it was that cherry on top of the cake because it was a beautiful ending. Somehow reminds me of the walk of the elves in the Lord of the Rings. I don't know if but obviously it's the opposite way. Probably the elves, the Lord of the Rings are seen
as he's a Lord of the Rings
holy
fan.
creatures.
How have you not become my best friend by now, Davide?
Oh, yeah. But I love that part, and I even love the contrast that they did with the summoning all the spirits of the dead from the deity of the mountain. It was beautiful. It's like the god of the night summoning all of them, and suddenly the bells start singing. I don't know how to say it, and then suddenly he goes back to sleep, and everybody goes hiding, and the morning comes up as a sort of like way of hope, of like regeneration again and life again. That after a storm, there's always the sun. I don't know. That's the way I saw it. It was beautifully done. I mean, the ending could have been better.
Well, even the hippopotamus and stuff. Well, that's what I thought the warning was for. Was about the hippos. Like, I was like, well, I love the hippo. How do you not like the hippo?
They were very cute. They were very cute.
The alligator and the hippo, the interaction with the alligator and the.
It was cute, but compared to the the demon from the Bald Mountain and the representation, it's kind of like you got a holy section and a more
cartoon. Where have I seen that hippo before?
So
what other
hippos and stuff are also they make an appearance in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's right. I was going nuts trying to figure out where I've seen them before.
And so doesn't the brooms do as well.
Brooms do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I think, I love that movie.
It all takes place in 1940s, doesn't it? Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
We should do that one day. That would have been perfect to slip in here somewhere.
We are actually. We're doing it this year.
Oh, okay.
It's part of our book to screen.
Oh, they made a book out of that?
Yeah, it started out as a book. It started out as a book.
Oh, it did start out as a book. No kidding. I did not know that. Interesting.
I mean, I watched the making of Fantasia, and the Ave Maria segment is all done on glass.
Is it really?
So it's all these panes of glass, and as their camera's moving forward, they're lifting up the pane of glass.
Wow!
That's when it's going through the art. That's how they were able to do that, and they came up with a lot of different things. I mean, what I find incredible is that Disney created stereophonic sound. Up until now, everything was mono.
Right.
And they created stereophonic sound for this movie, which is what we use today for everything, which has also created surround sound for us.
Shit.
We never had that. This is the first film. This is the first film to do that. And that's the reason why I like in the beginning, if you notice, because now we all have stereo on our computers and headphones and everything. Everything's stereo now. But if you notice, you can find, you can see where you can hear the music coming out of the right and then the left and out of the center.
Yeah.
It's to show
that's true. That's true. I didn't know that. How interesting.
Yeah, Disney created stereo sound. Can you imagine what our music would be like if we never had stereo sound?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, and then they go into just how they implemented the musical scores, like the toccata with I think they call it the fugue in D minor was supposed to be like a massive thing that's never been done before, and it was just beautiful.
Oh, the whole abstract thing you mean?
Yeah.
When it was abstract thing. Oh, that was beautiful. That was very, very creative, to be honest. I can imagine doing meditation with that, to be honest.
Well, I love classical music, though. It is really pretty. I mean, there's a lot of it, like Vivaldi and all that. I mean,
it's very good if you put it in the background. If you're starting and you put it in the background, it's very relaxing. Generally,
then you have the Nutcracker, but I don't think we saw the Nutcracker and the Nutcracker part, though.
Well, they didn't do Nutcracker. They did the Four Seasons, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting because
the Nutcracker Suite, they did the music, but
yeah, they did the music. But I'm saying that they didn't. But the visionary part of it was the Four Seasons, wasn't it? Spring, spring, summer, fall, winter, which is quite interesting because you think they would have done that with Vivaldi's The Four Seasons.
Mm. It was obvious.
But that's what I quite like about Fantasia, because they give you something that you don't expect to see.
Mm.
Like Springs, I never thought dinosaurs and all the other stuff. I never thought Night of Bald Mountain would be what we saw.
The Rite of Spring was kind of one of my favorites. I just love dinosaurs, though. But the Sorcerer's Apprentice, remember when they did King Arthur, the Sorcerer's Stone? Did they use one of these scenes in that? I'm trying to remember, because the boy is trying to cheat and he uses the magic to get all the work to go, so Merlin would.
I think that's isn't that Disney too as well? Or am I wrong?
Yeah,
I'm thinking the Sorcerer's Stone, maybe.
Sword in the Stone is Disney.
Yeah. Where am I getting the Sorcerer's Stone from?
No, I
So
think it's the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's how it's called.
What's okay?
It's
I'm getting all my stuff mixed.
No, no, no.
Yeah, that's
You're
what you're
right.
saying.
You're right.
Sword
It's
and
a
Stone
movie.
is King
Did they use
Arthur.
that scene? Huh?
Sword in the Stone is King Arthur.
Okay, but isn't the Sorcerer's Apprentice? Don't they have a similar problem with the boy getting all the brooms and all of the cleaning stuff going a whack on him behind Merlin's back or whoever's back it was? I get them all. Sometimes they all run in as the centuries go by.
I also thought it was quite interesting that they gave us background on classical music, so we learned something at the same time. Like,
I know they had the
this
guys
tells a
talking.
story. This is what this does. This is what that does, and then
The conductors talking. That was a cool spin.
So I quite like that. So let's get to rating Fantasia. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how many stars do you give this DVD?
10, obviously. This is a piece of art, and the most amazing thing, and I'll always say that, I love leisure for leisure, but when there is leisure and there's education, that's even better. Obviously, it's not pushed, it's just put there, it's done with art, and then you can enjoy classical music and you get animation. And then the beautiful thing that they've done with Fantasia is also there's no an agenda of pushing religious stuff or scientific stuff. Everything is represented. You have mythology, you have a religious idea, you have lore, you have science, you have mixed everything together represented there. And it's like, there we go, art. And it was just beautiful. So for me, it's obviously the maximum star is 5. I would give it like a 10 brooms. There we go, 10 brooms.
What about yourself, Vicky?
Oh, I'll give it a ton of brooms too. I mean, there's no downside to this at all. There's for the whole family. There's nothing. It's beautiful music and just fantastic animation, and it is a work of art, and it's just one of those things. I think everybody should see it. I don't care what your thoughts are about Disney, but this was definitely something you need to see. Your kids need to see it. It's just, I mean, I guess it's probably hard for kids with the music part. It gets slow for them, but it's beautiful. There's just no doubt. 5 stars easy.
I'm gonna give it a solid 5 stars. I mean, it is a work of art. I think long after we pass from this earth, this has always been remaining a piece of art. I own it on Blu-ray. I've had before when it first was released on video. I bought it on video, and it's still, every time I watch it, it still wows me to this day. So I'll give it a solid 5. Well, our next feature is Fantasia 2000, which is a 1999 American animated music anthology film produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation and released by Walt Disney Pictures, produced by Roy E. Disney and Donald W. Ernst. It is the 38th Disney animated feature film and the sequel to Disney's 1940 animated feature film, Fantasia. Like its predecessor, Fantasia 2000 consisted of animated segments set to pieces of classical music. Celebrities including Steve Martin, Itzhak Perlman, Quincy Jones, Bette Midler, James Earl Jones, Penn and Teller, James Levine, and Angela Lansbury introduced a segment in live-action scenes directed by Don Hahn. After numerous and successful attempts to develop a Fantasia sequel, the Walt Disney Company revived the idea shortly after Michael Eisner became chief executive officer in 1984. Development paused until the commercial success of the 1991 home video release of Fantasia convinced Eisner that there was enough public interest and funds for a sequel, to which he assigned Disney as an executive producer. The music for 6 of the film's 8 segments is performed by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, conducted by James Levine. The film includes The Sorcerer's Apprentice from 1940 original. Each new segment was produced by combining traditional animation with computer-generated imagery. Fantasia 2000 premiered on December 17th, 1999 at Carnegie Hall in New York City as part of a concert tour that also included London, Paris, Tokyo, and Pasadena, California. The film was then released in 75 IMAX theaters worldwide from January 1st to April 30th, 2000, making it the first animated feature-length film to be released in this format. In its general release in regular theaters, followed on June 16, 2000, the film received mostly positive reviews from critics who praised several of its sequences while also deeming its overall quality uneven in comparison to its predecessor. Budgeted at about 80 to 85 million, the film has grossed 90.9 million dollars worldwide. So what we're going to do is cut to the trailer of Fantasia 2000 and be right back.
We all know it's impossible to see music, yet many composers have tried to take musical sounds and give them a pictorial meaning.
Walt's original idea was that Fantasia would be a continuing work in progress, and Fantasia 2000 is the realization of that dream.
Now, the first ever full-length animated motion picture, exclusively in IMAX theaters. Walt Disney Pictures is proud to present Fantasia 2000, the IMAX experience. Presenting 7 all-new journeys into the imagination, along with a classic favorite, in a motion picture unlike any other. On January 1st, exclusively in IMAX theaters around the world, Walt Disney Pictures proudly presents Fantasia 2000.
Hello, welcome back to the Literature License Podcast. We're discussing Fantasia 2000. So, Vix, what are your thoughts of Fantasia 2000?
Well, I loved it. I think I liked the older one a little bit better, but I still love this one. I liked the, I guess it was the, oh God, which one was the Symphony number 5? C minor with Allegro and all. I mean, they're sitting there talking about all this in my research. I just like the movie. I don't know what a C minor and an Allegro means. I just know I like the music. I believe it was it the Pines of, what was it? Yeah, Pines of Rome, where the frolicking humpback whales, I guess. Yeah. I like whales. So I thought that was really cool. The Rhapsody in Blue was really cool. Sorcerer's Apprentice, they let us revisit a little bit the older one again. The Pomp and Circumstance I found really interesting because I had no idea about the Pomp and Circumstance being something completely different from something you would see at a college graduation or a high school graduation. It meant something else to begin with. And when it's like, oh, because I've never really paid attention to the whole musical score. So that was kind of cool figuring that out or learning that. Because it had all the marches 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then they had Donald Duck as Noah. And, you know, that was really fun watching Donald Duck be Noah. And he had the ark and all of the things that would probably go wrong for Noah, if you know the story. But yeah, it was really thoroughly enjoyable. The ending was very cinematically beautiful and inspiring, I have to say. I thought that was a beautiful twist. I thought I was going to hate it, but I didn't. And I really loved the end. I thought it was beautiful. And again, rebirth in life, you know?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The only thing I didn't like was the celebrities.
I didn't like that either. I was telling... Maybe it was Ferris before we got on. Penn and Teller just rubbed me the wrong way. I do love Angela Lansbury, however.
Oh, my God.
But you don't like Angela Lansbury?
No, he loves her.
I was gonna say, how could you not love her?
I'm gonna take 1 minute to talk about these amazing
Go ahead,
women. I am platonically in love with Angela Lansbury. I grew up with watching Murder, She Wrote. Everybody, obviously, we have a silly belief in Italy, like a silly running joke. Everybody says that everywhere she goes, somebody dies. I know it's a funny joke, but she's an amazing.
I heard something about that.
She's a serial killer. Yeah.
What is she, like
come on,
don't
touch Angela.
A serial killer. Just smart about how to get away with it. She blames someone else for it.
No, but she's incredible. I watched many movies, and sometimes I still haven't watched everything she's done. But I think Bed Knobs and Broomsticks was an amazing movie. Yeah. Obviously, she does Mrs. Brooke in The Beauty and the Beast. I adore her, and obviously she died. I think in 2022 at some point, but I managed to see her live 10 years ago, and she was in the theater in London doing Blithe Spirit, and that was one of my dreams. I have 3 women that I need to see live in my life. One is Judi Dench, one is Maggie Smith, one is Angela Lansbury. Angela Lansbury, done, check. But Maggie Smith's going to be the next one because I love Maggie Smith. But
she's doing a play in the fall in London.
I need to go and see her at some point.
You know what you need to watch? I don't know if you've seen any of Angela Lansbury's older movies, but she was in Samson and Delilah, and she's opposite Victor Mature in that movie. You want to see a very 17-year-old Angela Lansbury? You should watch it. It's an old movie. I like old movies.
Yeah, you're right.
She's also in
Delilah. Look for Victor Mature.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, literally, I'm putting them down.
And she's in a movie that everyone overuses that term today. She's in a movie called Gaslight.
Oh, that is a good one. Gaslight is awesome.
She's also in the Harvey Girls as well with Judy Garland.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to see her play a complete bitch, The Manchurian Candidate, where she got an Oscar nomination for that.
Right. She did get nominated, did she not? She didn't win though.
If she didn't, I will nominate her when I watch the movie because
it's with but it's with who's it? Lawrence Harvey, Janet Leigh, Angela Lansbury, and Frank Sinatra.
That was a good one. Oh my God, I turned some of these old movies on this weekend. Who cares about the writer's strike?
Manchurian Candidate is just like all inspiring. It's just like, but yeah,
she always looked kind of. Did you ever notice she always stays like the same age?
She always is old. I mean, the thing is, she's 2 years younger than Elvis Presley, and she played Elvis Presley's mother in Blue Hawaii.
That's right. I forgot. I forgot about that. I still thought she was a beautiful woman. I loved her.
She always looked mature. She always looked very mature for her age. So
she always did.
Yeah.
But she has a special beauty. I'm sorry, but everybody's got his or her own icon of what's beautiful and majestic. For me, she's a titan, and I mean, I don't know much about her, but then it's just platonic love at first sight.
It's one of the good ones.
Everybody makes fun of me, but I just love her.
Who cares?
Nanny McPhee as well. She's in Nanny McPhee.
Well, next time you're over, I'll show you Angela Lansbury on stage doing Sweeney Todd. I have it on DVD.
Ooh, that's right. She did do Sweeney Todd.
She was the original Sweeney Todd, yeah. And she was the original Mame, which we'll be covering Mame later on, but she was the original, the musical Mame.
That's right.
She was the original
So
Mame.
we got lots more Angela Lansbury coming there, buddy.
And she's saying
Angela Lansbury pajama party.
She's saying Bosom Buddy would be Arthur from Golden Girls. That's what they did.
That's right. She really was quite the act. She was fun to watch. I really enjoyed all of her stuff, I have to say.
And she was also in a Little Night Music as well. So she did a lot
of stuff. She had a very fulfilling career in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't come across anything about her in any of my Dirty Hollywood books that you and Joe suggested. I keep waiting for a couple people to show up. Victor Mature shows up.
Yeah.
For other reasons.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the cartoon called Anastasia? Who's become the Disney movie? I think she was doing the voice of the grandmother, if I'm not mistaken.
And Brenda Peters does that
too.
And Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I mean,
she was a Mama Teapot.
I mean, but in Fantasia 2000, I kind of wish they didn't bring in the celebrities It was
Yeah,
great.
They
that
must
I
have had a
agree.
Great to see
reason.
Angela
That I
Lansbury, and it was
agree.
great to see Bette Midler. But in a way, they kind of broke it up a little bit. It kind of like, oh,
Did you think maybe they should have stuck with the musical conductors like they did with
I
the other
think
one?
so, because I thought because you kind of stuck with him at the beginning in the
Right.
first one, and so when he's carrying you through from one segment to the other, it just kind of flowed.
Yeah.
Here it's kind of like, oh, they dragged these people.
Chopped it up a little bit.
Well, they felt like they dragged these people out for a day's filming. Probably not a day's filming, an hour's filming, but it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I saw Fantasia 2000 and it's opening at the IMAX. And when I saw it at the IMAX, they had a full orchestra there playing the orchestrations live.
Did they really? I haven't been to the IMAX in eons. Oh my
And
god.
it was awe-inspiring. What I liked about Fantasia 2000, I love that. I loved how the beginning of it is old animation mixed with computer animation. So you start off the old way, and then it slowly becomes. So it kind of like that way when the movie flows through, and by the time we get to the end of it, which is all computer animation, it kind of has that kind of a flow where one's taking over the other, and I thought that was well done. And I love the Al Hirschfeld George Gershwin segment. The Rhapsody in Blue.
Yes.
I love the animation in that because growing up, I mean, if you had TV Guide and stuff like this, Al Hirschfeld used to always do the covers of TV Guide with those cartoon cover of celebrities and stuff.
Right.
And that's Al Hirschfeld, and it was so great to see it looked like it was his work. I mean, I know it's an odd to his work, but it looked like his work. The way the faces look and the bodies are drawn, and I like that a lot.
A little bit more of a little more laughter in this one. Like again, going back to Noah, where he's trying to plug a hole up, and all the big fatter animals. He's trying not to get crushed because the boat's going back and forth. So I mean, you did have a little more comedy in there too, which was a nice touch. But do you consider this a sequel or a kind of a reboot? Because there seemed to be a little argument in some of the research I was going. Some say it's a sequel. Other people say it's just a totally different take.
I think what it is that Disney's original plan for Fantasia was to release it every 5 years and take out segments and put in new segments.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
that was what, because it wasn't cost effective, and because of World War II, of course, that changed everything.
Right.
They were still doing their silly symphony shorts.
Gosh, we had a world war going on when they released this, right? Because at least it was in Europe. We had not been bombed yet. Yeah. Pearl Harbor had not happened yet.
Yeah. And so it was coming. It was in the process of coming. And as I said before, Disney had to put in the stereo sound in theaters because they didn't have that and all the other stuff that was going on at the time.
So did they actually physically put stereo sound in the theaters for this? Very cool. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
But then what if obviously they've done the first in the 60s? That was 1960, isn't it?
The first one's 1940.
1940, okay, 1940. Then the second's in 2000. So if you go by calculation, then the third one should be in 2060. I don't know if you think about it.
Well,
and then
you might be here to see it. I don't think I will be, but you might see it.
Well, I mean, the thing is like Disney did do other anthologies set to music. There was the Make Mine Music, which dealt with a lot of jazz music. There's the Three Caballeros that dealt with South.
Oh my gosh! The Three Caballeros.
I love that one.
Yeah, but that was all dealing with music as well, the South American music and stuff like that.
Yes, I remember
things like that. There's also another one called Melody Time as well. They had Alice, Fedora, and all the other stuff, and they had the Andrews Sisters music and big band music.
I love the Andrews Sisters too. I've actually got tapes of not tapes, but I got them downloaded onto my Spotify. It's just like I will actually work out and listen to the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B sometimes.
Well,
I like it. I love swing bands too.
Some of their lyrics are a bit risque as well when you start listening to them.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
Seafood, mama.
do you know that you actually have unlocked a memory when you say the name of the Three Caballeros? Do you remember that South American actress who was in the Three Caballeros?
Carmen Miranda.
The Three Caballeros.
Yes, I was in love with that when I was.
Are you talking about Steve Martin and Martin Short and the Three Caballeros? Are we talking about
that's the Three Amigos.
Oh, the Three Amigos. Yeah, they kept calling themselves
the Three Caballeros is with
I
can't remember.
Brain dead today.
Donald Duck and the parrot. I can't remember the name of the parrot, but Carmen Miranda's in it.
Yeah. Which one is it?
Three Caballeros. It's Disney animation.
I know it.
One got a goose, 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 got a goose.
Okay.
Carmen Miranda, yes, my gosh, you have unlocked a memory of when I was a child. I need to watch this again because.
What's scary is it unlocks memories for us as children too.
But we'll get there. We're gonna have a funky tunky. I love that. One got a goose.
I remember because as a child, when I was in Italy, I remember I literally unlocked the memory. I was in love with her, and I remember that obviously we have this brand. Probably you have this brand here in the UK. I'm not sure, but anything we have a brand of bananas called Chiquita.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a banana, and I'm here to say I have a JB every day.
People see the blue sticker.
But then I promise, when I saw the little sticker when I was younger, I thought, oh my god, that's her, But I didn't know.
We used to always put them on our forehead.
Yeah.
We used to always put the blue sticker on her head.
And what was the last line? And never put a banana in the refrigerator.
Hey, you know what? That's bullshit because they do turn funky on the outside, but they keep on the inside. You can refrigerate your bananas, people.
Yeah, just because they turn
funky on the outside. They get black faster. They black faster. At least in the UK.
But yeah, so Disney was still kind of doing their music thing. It just wasn't under the banner of Fantasia sort of things.
No.
But they were doing like other types of music and stuff. And I mean, if you look at any classic Disney silly symphony stuff, fantastic. The old mill and the willow tree, and I mean they were fantastic. I have some of those here, and the Ugly Duckling that they did as well.
I loved the Tin Soldier part, with the Hans Christian Andersen. I think that was the Piano Concerto number 2, Allegro, Opus 102. And yes, I am reading from notes. But that I wanted to bring up because I really loved that part of this film.
I know they changed the story slightly
from the Jack in the Box.
They gave it a happy ending though, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I thought because I watched when I was
a kid. He lost his leg though. Was he missing a leg?
Yeah, he was. The original Hans Christian Andersen is that the Tin Soldier was made and only had one leg, so he falls in love with the ballerina, and then he goes through all the adventures are fine, but at the end, what happens is the window is left open, and the ballerina and the tinsman get swept into the fire, and the only thing left is this tin heart.
Oh, that's right.
I know. I remember.
So
they're all horrible, nasty, wretched, dark stories. They are not fucking happy at all. Whenever you Little Mermaid and all these others, they are not happy stories.
So Disney gave it. It's kind of like a little Disney-fied ending sort of thing. So.
Yeah, but think about it. They stay together, they're happy ending, and then eventually get a divorce. So it's better that they die, and then it's very romantic.
They were burned to death together. It's better to burn to death together than get grow old, get divorced.
That's true. I guess, well, you know what? I've been divorced, and I'd rather throw myself on a heaping fire than ever have to do that. So, yes.
See, romanticism from the era of romanticism was supposed to be like desperate, tragic. The happy ending kind of ruined it, make it very silly, make it very childish,
Stories sort of like La Traviata or Madame Butterfly.
At least that's the way I see it. Like romantic stuff need to have bad ending because kind of as a reminder that romanticism is beautiful, but if you literally fall trapped and become obsessed with it, then it will kill you, So it's
usually
kind of
ends in tragedy of some sort too. There's always tragedy with romance.
I know.
What do you think about the Hunchback whales? I thought that they were done. I thought it was maybe because they're Hunchback whales are becoming extinct. So with them going into the air and stuff like this, do you think it's them going to heaven because they're becoming extinct?
That was a good question. I didn't really know what I thought that it could have gone both ways. They could either be being freed or they could be going to heaven. They didn't really. Did they show them dying?
They didn't show them dying, but they
But
showed them
floating in
going,
the
being
sky.
sucked up into the light at the end.
Right.
I didn't think of
Yeah,
that.
you could take that a couple different. I guess that's open to interpretation.
And I kind of wonder if that has to do because they are becoming extinct for whatever reasons, and I was kind of wondering because I was kind of watching it going the first time I watched it, go, this is very beautiful, strange that they're flying, but very beautiful. But then I noticed that the clouds become ice, and then the ice becomes, and then kind of like everything transverses, and then they at the end of it's just them being sucked up into the
That's
sky.
a good question.
And I thought, does this mean they're dying? I mean, I said that I did say the Ferris. God forbid. Can you imagine if whales were able to fly? Can you imagine?
They did that. They did that with Pokemon, like in the games when you have like whales, Pokemon, they float.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd want that really. Could you imagine? I mean, it's bad enough when you get shit on by a bird. Can you make me shit on by a flying?
They're really big because whenever we went to Cabo San Lucas about 4 years ago. We went whale watching in Big Sur, and then those whales, they are not small. They are not small.
Yeah,
and they could totally destroy you in those boats if they want to. But they were pushing their babies up to the boat. They wanted to show you that's like talk about a humbling experience. It was very humbling. But they used to call them devilfish. They used to attack the boats 40 and 50 years ago, but they don't do that anymore because they stopped hunting them. Then you had National Geographic hunting. You think National Geographic's good? No, not Nat Geo. I always tell everybody this story. They had all these rich people on a National Geographic ship, and there was one mother and one calf still left in this inlet. And there was about 6 of these boats chasing this one whale down. And these guys I was so pissed. Nat Geo is full of shit. So don't trust Nat Geo people. They are not always what they seem to be. I got pictures of that. I can prove it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're beautiful.
You should never chase a mother and their child down. Doesn't matter.
Well, they were chasing them out the inlet. They were supposed to go this way out into the Sea of Cortez, but she was scared. And she was going the wrong way. And the only people, it was terrible. It was because we were just.
If they'd left her alone without her panicking, she probably would have been fine.
Yeah, because we were with the Spanish people, the Mexican guys. They knew what they were doing. They were in fishing boats. They would take you out there to see them, and they would come up to the boat. You didn't have to chase them down. But Nat Geo pulls up with this big cruiser and all these people on it. They all dive in boats and just don't. They're not doing it right. Now, the native people that lived there, they knew what they were doing. They were really good people.
Only the rich can do something stupid like that.
That was stupid. I got pictures of it. I'll dig them out and send them to you. It's mad. I've always thought about that, too.
I like the Carnival of the Animals segment with the flamingo playing yo-yo.
Oh, yeah, the flamingos. What other goofy animals do we have in this one?
It's only because I like them because it's like, the
flock of flamingos. Yeah, the flock of flamingos.
You got like a flamingo, and you got like because they're all such uniform looking and stuff like this. And then you got one who's like he's just going to be his own person, and now everyone's like against it. But at the end of the day, he kind of wins as being himself. The black sheep. Be me. Yeah. I don't need to fit in to be you. It doesn't matter if I fit in or not. I'm still going to be me. And I quite like that little message. And I also like the Donald and Daisy pomp and circumstances thing. I thought it was really kind of clever and cute. And the thing is, like, he doesn't know if she made it or not, and then they find each other in the end, I think what I also like about it, because you see some of the other animals from other Disney features,
right?
Like you see the lizards from The Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
You see him, and you see like a couple others, so you can like.
Oh, I forgot about The Rescuers Down Under. I haven't seen that one in a long time either.
That's a good film, actually.
They used to make such really cool stuff that was just for everybody, and there was no crap to it.
We watched The Elementals this week.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Excellent, really fun. I really liked it.
Really, it bombed. It was any good because it bombed terrible over here, so it's really good.
I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. And the thing is there's a making of it, and the guy who made it, it's a Pixar film, but he also did the little Chinese boy in Up is designed for this guy who directed Elemental. So he used it as when his family moved to America from China or Korea, I can't remember which one. but he used a lot, and when he put the story together, there's a lot about his experiences and stuff like this, and and how and he fell in love with an American, and how his parents were not too happy about it until like, and so he put all that in there and stuff like this, and it's really well done. It's about fire and water, and the fire falls in love with the water, and the water falls in love with the fire, but they're not able to be together because they're different, and it's good. I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. I kind of smiled and laughed.
I haven't seen it yet. I just kind of bypassed it because everybody was just shitting all over it review wise. I was like, oh man, I'll give it a look, see if you guys liked it.
The only Disney film that I did not feel accustomed or feel akin to was Big Red.
That was stupid.
I still haven't watched it.
I think that maybe
it was okay. It was okay.
I think if I was a young girl having my period, I probably would have felt something more for it. But I felt like I just kind of felt left out of everything.
I just don't know why they even made a movie about getting your period. I
think it's educational, kind of like. Imagine
Disney's not there to educate my grandson on girls.
No, but what I mean is kind of like introducing the concept with, and then eventually you kind of like.
Well, it was kind of funny. Some of it, I just think they need to stay on entertainment and no bodily functions.
Well, I think
you're getting gray areas with that. Disney just needs to chill on that stuff.
I think, to be honest, I think they could have done the same thing without it being pushed in your, because it just felt like it was.
That's exactly
all the time. The whole movie's like boof, boof, boof.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I had a black eye from it all because it's kind of like I was being punched in the face with it. So.
I think they're chilling.
There's nothing wrong with covering. There's nothing wrong with covering that. I have nothing. I'm not problem covering that.
But not that.
But we're just like over and over and over and over and over. It's like, okay, I got it.
It takes the fun out of it.
But all the Disney films I'm still watching, I can't find.
I still love all my old stuff. I still like all their old Yeller stuff. I love all their old content. I really love it. But I like a lot of their new stuff.
I can't fault any of their new animations. The only one I didn't feel accustomed to was the Big Red, but. God, I mean, they're 100 years old today. I mean, they're 100 years old now.
Let's see.
If there's only like one or two that I don't feel close to, that's pretty good.
After all the films that they got, I mean, how do you not like all the stuff we grew up with? I mean, it's all wonderful stuff. Yeah. I mean, it just is.
I liked Elementals. I liked Inside Out.
I haven't seen that one yet either.
That's really good. I highly recommend that one as well.
Wait, Inside Out, which is the way up?
That's the one about the child's emotions.
Yeah.
No, I have not seen that one.
That's
no.
excellent.
I like the one with the balloons, the house.
Excellent.
Like the one up with the balloons in the house. That one was good.
But Soul with Jamie Foxx.
Soul made me
did not see that one yet either.
Soul made me cry.
They've got so much stuff out. I haven't had a chance to watch it. There's always something that they got out.
I mean, out of all of my all the stuff that I pay for as far as platforms, I got rid of a lot of my streaming services. The only one I've kept was Disney and Netflix.
You didn't keep Hulu?
That's Disney here. That's Disney Plus.
Yeah. Oh, okay, but it isn't over here. You have to have the bundle over here.
Yeah, here they do both, so it's fine at the moment because they don't have Hulu here yet. So, but they're the only two. Disney's going to work out fine because we're doing a lot of Disney films this year anyway. So, so that's good. But yeah, I think the jewel in the crown for Fantasia 2000 is the last segment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I agree. I definitely agree. It's definitely my favorite parts in this.
I like how she went back and painted the volcano green after that horrendous happening when she goes into the volcano and can't figure out why it's not turning green. So yeah.
But what I also like, if you ever look at after a volcanic eruption, that's what happens.
Everything goes green.
Rebirths, what wasn't green before is now green now, and I like that they kind of tied that in as well.
Yeah. Well, gosh, nothing grows like gangbusters after a volcanic eruption. I mean, it just grows. I've seen, you just watch it, but a year later, even it's just.
But I also like when she turns to ash, and then you see bits of her face going to ash, and it's all.
Well, he gulps her, doesn't he? He just eats her, basically. The Was that a demon, or was that just fire? What was that represent? An elemental representation? I guess it really all was elemental representations. So,
I say when I saw this segment for the first time at the IMAX, and the orchestra's playing, and the trees and everything at the end, you're just going. I mean, this is before CGI became CGI what we have today, and we're like, I remember just going, wow. It's like, oh my god, that whole segment, and you get pictures like there and it's in 3D in front of you. It's like, so it was awe inspiring, and I still find it awe inspiring. If whenever I want to show off any kind of animation, I would show off this animation because I think it's, and I like the story. It tells a complete story, and the elk's beautiful, and the nature side of it, and so much emotions pass through without a word being said. So
I thought it was beautiful. I just the way they had her, she was like a female entity, but she was spring, she just came and carpeted the earth with greenery and flowers, and it was really beautiful. I was really stunned by how they did the ending. I've never seen this Fantasia ever, so it was the first time for me. I truly enjoyed it. Still kind of like the older one a little bit more, but I guess maybe it was the incorporation of putting modernity in there, like actors kind of.
I think the Sorcerer's Apprentice probably shouldn't be in there.
Yeah, I think it was just a repetition.
Because they had to incorporate it because it was an appendage of the other one.
Yeah, but the thing is like, I kind of would like maybe a sequel to The Sorcerer's Apprentice with some different music.
Yeah, I think it would have been a nice idea to continue the story
or to move forward, or maybe maybe do something. It's just that, I mean, it's kind of like, because I got Fantasia, right? I got the original. I got Fantasia in 2000 on Blu-ray anyway, and maybe if I hadn't, I think it's because you're watching it, and then when Fantasia, The Sorcerer's Apprentice comes on, you go, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, but don't you think that
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but it's almost like, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, but basically, the first one was made to this resurgence of Mickey Mouse. I mean, you think maybe they're just trying to keep Mickey Mouse, give him a little nod, wink, Well,
I think they could have done that beforehand, because you got to remember that the reason why they decided to finally go through with Fantasia 2000 is because they released Fantasia on video, and it became a huge seller.
Well, they had a hard time getting this production out because everybody was giving Walt Disney's nephew a hell of a time trying to get this produced and out there.
Yeah.
They didn't really like the concept.
And because Fantasia, the videotape, made so much money, they figured, okay, well, it's going to make money because people who bought Fantasia, because it made so much money on videotape, you can see that. So then you're thinking, well, if that's the reason, so why include something that's on the Fantasia tape into this, I suppose. I'm not saying that I have no problem with it. It's just kind of like, I would rather had a new segment of something new.
Right. Yeah, you're probably right. They could probably come up with something a little more fresh. When did we start losing the video store and stuff and this stuff? Was it around this time?
Probably Blockbuster shops.
Or was it like mid-90s?
About 2010, was it?
We stopped going to video stores and getting VHS.
When did Netflix start? About 2008, 2009?
Yeah, roughly.
No, it's Netflix that kind of ruined everything. That started the whole streaming thing, didn't it?
Okay, yeah, because Netflix actually was, you went and got your Netflix video. Remember the CDs?
Yeah,
then you'd mail them back, a red box, and then you'd mail them back. Yeah.
And then they started the streaming service that you could start streaming at that same time. They were running both of them at the same time, and then
the rest is history. Yeah, that that just popped into my head. I was just trying to figure out what their sales were going to be geared for when this came out. Was it the video rental, buy, or was it the cinema experience they were trying to push?
I had it on DVD, so I know it was released on DVD because DVDs are coming out around that time. So, and then I got the Blu-ray. I finally got the Blu-ray. I think I got both this and the Blu-ray for $10 for both of them together. So you can't really.
Oh, okay.
That was a good deal. Well, let's rate Fantasia 2000. So, Vicky, how many stars do you give Fantasia 2000?
I'm still going to give it a 4, just because I kind of was hoping that the conductors would do more of the conversating other than the actors. But I really did like Angela Lansbury. There was one other actor that I was happy that showed up, and I'm having a moment, and I can't
Bette
remember
Midler?
him now. Who?
Bette Midler?
No.
Quincy Jones?
No, keep going. One
Steve
more.
Martin?
Yes, I like seeing Steve Martin. I do think that the end was absolutely breathtaking. That was very visually stunning, and it was well done. And I was glad that they ended it that way, because I didn't think they could top the other one. So those two are running neck and neck, and they're just like 67, 80 years apart, I want to say. But it was beautiful. Yeah, it's another one. I would seriously, if you get your kids to sit through classical music, it really is worth it. It just really makes your brain feel good. It's just brain food. It really is.
Maybe a soft Davide. What do you?
I too gonna give it like a 4, actually 4.5, because
That's what I did.
for.
I just was irritated with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's just say between 4 and 4.5. So obviously, there's an educational part of the music, which is incredible, and obviously the whole fantasy. The only thing, obviously, I watched this one for the first time, and the last part was my favorite part as well. Like, the whole representation of nature and rebirth, etc. Beautiful. The rest of the animations, except for the Sorcerer's Apprentice, because there was kind of like a retake. I mean, it was exactly the same on the old one. The rest of the animation, I liked it, but not as much as I liked in the old one. And most of the animation, especially I don't know, the one, for example, the Carnival of the Animals, or I don't know, even the Noah's Ark, it's kind of like they're using fantasies, using the fantasy of like Disney branded characters, which is okay, but I would have preferred like new ideas. Like in the old one, for example, I loved, the Demon of the Bald Mountain, and on the mythology one, and there's a whole new created characters, which is incredible.
But we left out the cherubs and all that other stuff too.
Yeah, but then
we totally forgot about them.
But in certain of these animation, it's kind of like, okay, I mean, you do the Noah's Ark, but then the characters are taken from other animations. So it's kind of like, okay, but not what I was thinking. I don't know, maybe that was the thing. The kind of like, I don't want to say put me down, because this is a strong, I don't have a strong feeling against it. It's just I would have preferred to see newly created characters. And then also another thing, when you say it about the fact about introducing these VIP characters or whatever, doesn't it make you feel like, have you ever watched that Disney TV show called House of Mouse? Yeah. When all the characters meet and they kind of like introduce each other, and they have this variety show between all the Disney characters. So I'm thinking, if this is the origins of that. I'm thinking, what if this was sort of the kind of the original concept of that, when they kind of introducing all the famous people that took part of Disney, and it kind of like, look, this is Disney branded person, this is us, this is a special group of people. I don't know, I'm thinking of that, which is not necessarily bad, but it's just something. But yeah, besides this, in general, I would give it like a 4 or a 4.5. I don't know, maybe 4.5, because it's still beautiful anyway. It's just I prefer the old one first. I would move the last sequence of this movie to the old one, and then and then add it to the old one. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 as well. So the celebrity thing kind of took me out of it a little bit, and I think it lacks some of the flow that the previous one has. Situation, so
it's missing some kind of warmth. I mean, not that it wasn't beautiful, but there's something in the 40s you just can't recapture.
Yeah. Well, this brings us to the end of Literature License Podcast. Our next week anthologies will be covering Trick or Treat from 2007 and Tales of Halloween from 2015. And of course, next week we'll be doing Remake with Beauty and the Beast from 1991 and the remake from 2017. And of course, Book to Screen will be doing Coraline, the book by Neil Gaiman, and the 2009 film. We will also be continuing our Batman animated series with Paying the Crime Doctor, Vantana, The Mechanic, and Harvey and Ivy Go on a Holiday. And our 2-for-1 will be Kuntalanek and The Hole, one from 2018 and the last one from 2009. And of course, Doctor Who will be back in its full with The Space Museum and The Chase, which aired from the 24th of April, 1965 to the 26th of June from 1965. So it's good night for myself and good night, Vix.
Night, everybody.
Good night, Davide.
Good night, everyone.
And we'll see you next week for Beauty and the Beast.
When you rush around in hopeless circles, searching everywhere for something true, you're at the age of not believing, when all the make-believe is through. When you set aside your childhood heroes and your dreams are lost upon a shelf, you're at the age of not believing, and worst of all, you doubt yourself. You're a castaway where no one hears you, on a barren isle in a lonely sea. Where did all the happy endings go? Where can all the good times be? You must face the age of not believing, doubting everything you ever knew, until at last you start believing there's something wonderful in you. You're at the age of not believing, and worst of all, you doubt yourself. You're a castaway where no one hears you, on a barren isle in a lonely sea. Where did all the happy endings go? Where can all the good times be? You must face the age of not believing, doubting everything you ever knew, until at last you start believing there's something wonderful